You know that feeling when you're standing in a store trying to decide between two things you really want, but you know you can only afford one? Well, that exact feeling, that little moment of choice, is the same fundamental problem a CEO faces when they're deciding whether to invest millions of dollars. So let's dive in and see how the principles of economics shape, well, pretty much everything, from your shopping trip all the way to a corporate boardroom.
Okay, let's start with a scenario I think we can all relate to. Picture this. It's your birthday, and someone hands you a crisp $100 bill to spend on whatever you want. That freedom feels great, right? But then, the choices start piling up.
You could take your friends out, finally grab those shoes you've been eyeing, go see your favorite band, or, you could be a bit more practical, buy a great book, and pocket the rest. Now, if you could, you'd probably do all of them, right? But you can't. And that right there brings us to the core conflict of all economics.
On one side of the coin, our desires are basically endless. There's always something new to buy, a new place to go, a new experience to have. We are just creatures of, infinite wants.
And then, on the other side, reality hits. Scarcity. Whether it's money or time or even just energy, our resources are limited. We simply cannot have and do everything we want all at the same time.
So how do we deal with this constant tug-of-war between what we want and what we can actually get? Well, that's exactly where the science of economics steps in. At its heart, it's the science of choice.
That's the textbook definition. But what does it really mean? It means economics gives us a framework, a way of thinking about how all of us, individuals, companies, entire countries, make decisions to get the most out of the limited stuff we have. It's really the science of making the smartest possible choice when you can't have it all.
Now, this is where things get really, really interesting. Let's take that same exact problem, unlimited wants, scarce resources, and see what it looks like not in a shopping mall, but inside a corporate boardroom where the stakes aren't $100, but hundreds of millions.
So picture a boardroom. The CEO of a huge food company, a guy named G. Ramamurthy, leans forward and he pitches a massive new idea, jumping into the incredibly competitive soft drink market. We're not talking about choosing shoes anymore. This is a decision that could define the company's future for decades.
And right away, the board starts firing back with concerns. See, just like your birthday options, the company has all these competing priorities and risks it has to weigh. They're worried about giant competitors. Maybe the data they're using is old, consumer tastes are shifting. And hey, didn't another company try this and fail miserably? It's the same scarcity problem, just on a massive scale.
To sort through a maze like this, you can't just rely on a gut feeling. Leaders need a specialized set of analytical tools. And this is exactly where business economics becomes so critical.
So, what is business economics? You might also hear it called managerial economics. It's basically applied economics. It takes all the powerful theories from the world of economics and puts them to work on real-world business problems. The whole point is to help make the best possible decisions with the company's limited resources.
The best way to think about it is like a playbook or a strategic map for business leaders. It doesn't just describe what's happening in the economy, it gives you a guide on how to actually navigate it. It's the bridge that connects abstract economic theory to concrete business action.
So what's actually in this toolkit? Well, it mainly gives us two different lenses to look at the business world. One for thinking small and one for thinking big.
And this brings us to a really classic distinction. On one side, you've got microeconomics. This is like looking at the individual trees, things like your company's pricing or one customer's buying habits. Then you zoom out and you've got macroeconomics, which is like looking at the entire forest, the national economy, inflation, unemployment, all the big picture trends that affect everybody.
Now, for a manager, you have to master the micro, things like your production costs and customer demand, just to run the day-to-day business. But you also have to understand the macro, like how a recession or a change in interest rates could crush your sales, to plan for the future. You need to know your own tree inside and out, but you also have to know the climate of the entire forest.
So let's get practical. What kind of specific problems does this toolkit actually help a manager solve? Well, they usually fall into two big buckets.
First up, you have the internal issues. These are all the challenges happening inside the company, the things management can actually control. So business economics gives you tools to forecast demand, to analyze your production costs so you can be more efficient, and to set that perfect price to maximize your profits.
Then you have the external issues. These are the huge forces happening outside the company that a manager can't control but absolutely has to adapt to. We're talking about the overall health of the economy, new government regulations, rising inflation, you name it. Business economics helps leaders understand these forces and figure out how to react to them.
Okay, so when you put all of these pieces together, what you get is a clear, structured way to make much, much smarter decisions.
It's a really logical flow when you think about it. You start with a challenge, right? Like, should we launch this new product? Then you apply the economic toolkit to analyze costs, forecast demand, check out the competition. That analysis leads you to a rational, strategic decision, which hopefully helps the business achieve its ultimate goal, whether that's profit or growth or something else.
So here's the big takeaway. Economics isn't some dusty subject in a textbook. It is a fundamental part of our lives every single day. Whether you're deciding how to spend $100 or a boardroom is deciding how to invest $100 million, the core principles are exactly the same. It's all about making the best possible choice with what you have. And that really leaves us with one final thought. What's the next big choice you're going to make, and how will you decide?